In a market dominated by chips and nuts, a new player is emerging in savoury snack foods, pulses. And one of the pioneers of these products is a fifth-generation farming family from South Australia. As Kerry State reports, after making a name for themselves by producing pasta from their own wheat, the Maitlands were inspired to add value to their other crops.
The Maitlands have shared many meals in their 150 years on this farm near Clare, north of Adelaide.
Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't.
But these days they have a whole new appreciation for what's on the plate, because the main ingredients in this dish are homegrown.
We had a fettuccine and some pesto, chickpeas.
It's the result of a value-adding business the youngest generation started 6 years ago.
Would you like some more, Dave?
Just a touch.
A concept that was initially foreign to David and Margot Maitland, who ran the property when marketing boards took care of things beyond the farm gate.
Sadly, we had a bit of a grid mentality. Once we tipped it down the grid, that was it. We just waited for some funds to appear in our bank account. We didn't appreciate that the next step for a lot of our produce is pretty much straight down someone's throat.
Crops have helped sustain this family since settling here in 1866. After more than a century of mixed farming, the Maitlands moved away from livestock and focused entirely on growing grains and legumes. It's good country and they've been successful, but they say now is the time to take it to the next level.
Doing what we've done for the last 150 years and thinking that's what we can do for the next 150 is not going to be the key to success. Change. We've got to introduce change.
Enter David and Margot's son, Jim. Inspired by some of the value-adding he'd studied at agricultural college, he came up with the idea to use some of the farm's durum wheat to make the family's own brand of pasta. His parents were initially sceptical.
When he said, look, I think we should value add and make pasta, we did actually look at each other and do a little bit of eye-rolling, thinking, oh yeah, find a category that hasn't got, heaps of competition.
To stand out in that crowded marketplace, Jim and his wife Catherine went looking for a point of difference. They turned to something old to create something new, recruiting a traditional stone miller to grind their grain into flour. A technique they say retains the structure and much of the goodness of the grain.
We saw an opportunity for whole grain pasta because our product is 100% whole grain, so it's a little bit different. It's essentially a brown pasta, so we have brown breads and brown rice, but we don't have a lot of brown pasta.
The Maitlands outsourced the manufacturing of their pasta to another family business in Adelaide, but they control the branding. And when it came to picking a name to put on the packets, a local Indigenous word was the perfect fit.
We decided on the name Pangkarra, which is Kaurna language for a small piece of land that will actually sustain a tribe for generations. And so we thought, good karma would be to go to the Kaurna people and ask their permission.
Even with good karma, a clever name and a locally grown niche product, finding enough buyers for this premium-priced pasta to make these boxes profitable has been a challenge.
Were there times when you've all sat around the table and questioned whether you should continue with this?
We probably have had moments thinking, could we, should we? Yes, yeah, I got to say that did happen.
Instead of packing it in, the family decided to build on its slow-growing but loyal customer base by expanding into other products. Once again, Jim found plenty of inspiration out in the paddock, this time among his pulses. But before making any big decisions, he also went looking for a larger gap in the market.
As the years have rolled along and we've used or developed other products, we've probably learnt the importance of starting at the consumer end.
He realised that despite the truckloads of faba beans, broad beans and chickpeas coming off his and other farms, hardly any wind up as savoury snacks in Australian shops. So he suggested to his family that they change that.
It was a pretty clever idea.
Yeah.
You know, here's something just begging for an Australian, a South Australian, a Clare Valley regional sort of story and provenance. Just, you know, it was sitting there and we think, gee, we're bloody lucky someone else hadn't sort of bloody picked it up.
Here we go, sweetheart. These are lemon and thyme and they're beans.
In the last year, the Maitlands have released 3 types of roasted pulse snacks, with the main ingredients coming from their farm and other properties in the region.
So these are rosemary and sea salt, and they're whole faba beans and chickpeas as well. So the faba bean is the brown one, so they look a bit different, but that's how they come off the paddock. So
these types of snacks are already quite popular in parts of Asia, but there are only a few players in Australia. And getting in nice and early is paying off for the Maitlands, with the pulses already making up more than 40% of their sales.
It's an easier sell, basically. I mean, you know that when you're on the road with a distributor and you're walking into store owners' shops and you've literally got to sell it to them so that they can sell it to the customers. And with the snack products, it's literally they say yes before you even start giving a spiel.
While the sales pitch takes less effort than with whole grain pasta, getting the legumes to that point requires a lot of attention to detail. Cleaning is a crucial part of the process, a job the family leaves to AGT Foods, a major global player in pulse processing and value adding.
Most pulse crops, especially if they've had a small weather event or a bit of wind, they do get knocked over, or if they've got significant pods on them, they do send to fall over a little bit. So it's really important. The last thing you want is to try and get a new product out there and have someone bite into something with a stone or something, you know, a piece of foreign matter that shouldn't be in there.
Indeed, investing in their crops beyond the farm gate has come with an eye-opening crash course in food safety.
We're not just growing grain, we're actually food producers, and we've learnt about insects and weevils and all sorts of things that can contaminate food, rocks in chickpeas, all these things that we have to tick every single box before it ends up on the shelf.
This focus on consumers may be a world away from the path previous generations trod, but it's a comfortable fit for the latest managers of this property, with Catherine Maitland coming from a background in marketing. And she and her husband see plenty of potential for pulses beyond the snack packs.
While chickpeas, for instance, are a raw commodity that the subcontinent have been eating for 8,000 years, you can do some amazing things with these pulse crops, whether it's making tofu or ice cream.
That potential in the kitchen prompted another pulse product, retorted chickpeas. That's when a raw product is heated in cans or pouches in a pressure cooker to make it sterile and extend the shelf life. In Australia, the majority of retorted chickpeas come in cans and many are imported. The Maitlands decided to develop a locally grown option with the help of this Melbourne food processor. It's a partnership that has opened up new opportunities for both businesses, with Pangkarra's pouches coming to the attention of one of the processor's food service customers.
The biggest thing for food service was Australian grown. Most of the chickpeas that they get from the Middle East, from overseas, so to have the product, they're producing Australian-made products, so they want Australian ingredients, and that was a real selling point.
A gold medal or two doesn't hurt sales either, with both the retorted and roasted snack products picking up awards in the past year.
The winner of the New Product Award for less than 15 FTEs is...
Pangkarra Foods.
Here comes the sun.
The recognition from the food industry has helped motivate the family to keep pushing ahead.
We would like to thank all those who have supported us by buying our products, whether that be an IGA, Foodland outlet or the small deli around the corner, and you, the customer, for picking it up off the shelf.
But in an era where value adding is sometimes portrayed as the saviour of primary production, the question remains, does all of this actually add value?
Value adding is sometimes adding cost, and we have been here for 6 years, so we're still going. I would say that the first couple of years, we weren't breaking even. Now we're starting to break even and make a small profit.
Balancing the development and demands of the food brand with the running of the rest of their 2,000-hectare property has been a constant juggle. But the farmers say the foundation of their business comes first.
The commodity side of the business, Kerry, is still absolutely paying all the bills that open the doors on our place here every day of the week. Going down a new pathway cannot detract from the attention that is needed in what is always a challenging business of growing commodities.
With 2/3 of their farms sown to pulses last season, in a year when chickpea prices hit record highs, the effort of value-adding a small portion of this crop may also seem like too much hard work for not enough reward.
They look reasonably even, don't they? There aren't any monsters and there aren't any little baby chicks in there.
But the family believes its investment in the food sector will pay off, especially when pulses aren't performing as well.
The risk is much higher where you're just a one-trick pony to get another business, another side of the business, so that we could have an ability to manage, when seasons just run off the rails. That is a very important thing.
So is this kind of based on a Jamie Oliver recipe? Or
This is sort of a Catherine Maitland recipe, I suppose.
It's the best.
Bit of everything.
And with the profit margins starting to look a little healthier, they're hopeful this food journey they've embarked on will help sustain this farm and family for many generations to come.
We've certainly had ups and downs and challenges and sweat and tears and all the rest of it, but I feel that the bigger picture and what we're growing and working towards is certainly all worth it.
Cheers, Jim. Well done, Catherine. It's a pleasure to be here, thank you.